Yeah, I mean they're gonna keep getting more violent if people don't push back.
They're getting more violent. What are you talking? Dude, Riley Gaines go to San Francisco State University, and there's video evidence of them literally attacking her, screaming at her, and they won't let her leave. And they're over there saying she's got to pay us to let her leave. Her and her white privilege got to pay us to let her leave. Are you kidding me? I wish you would come at me like that. We're going to have some problems. Welcome to the Not Offended Podcast. What's going on? It's your boy Anthony over here, the conservative Chicano, sitting next to my man Bill, the agent. Got Mike the Token and Deshaun the Bishop here, and it is such an honor and privilege to be here. Hey, I'm straight back. ¿Qué onda, mi gente en Aguas Caliente? Got back from a missions trip. Shout out to my people watching over there. No subtitles in Spanish, so hopefully your English is up to that standard where you can keep up, because I know we talk fast over here sometimes. This side don't really talk much at all, but I know this side, we'll talk a little fast. And
we'll speak Spanish over here.
Okay, so go ahead. What are you going to tell them?
For all your gente. We'll speak Spanish.
You've been practicing your Spanish though, right? With the kids? You're good?
Not since we had that baby.
Deshaun had a baby. So all life has stopped for the baby now.
Man.
Hey, we got tired. Hey, my neighbor's gardener was over the other day, and I was going to start talking to him, and I almost went and got Kennedy. Said, "Hey, go talk to this guy. I need to ask him a question."
Because your daughter's pretty good, huh?
Oh yeah,
she's fluent.
Yeah, she's fluent in Spanish. She can talk to him.
Look at that. So, shout out to all the places watching us. We talk about culture and its influence on the church, and we got a good one today. I mean, there's so much to talk about, so much going on. But what I want to do is I want to lead off with my experience in Aguas Caliente. And it was an incredible time. I believe there was 14 of us that went down there. We did some mission trips in a neighborhood called Progreso, and we were able to love on kids. But there's something I want to talk about, because I was talking to the pastor. I had an opportunity to speak at La Fuente, which is the well. There's a church there in Aguas. And him and I, Pastor Tony, were talking. And I said, "Hey, are you getting ready for Easter?" And he says to me, "Oh, people don't really celebrate Easter here. It's not a big church day." And I said, "Hold up, wait a minute." He goes, "Now Christmas is it's the largest attended church service. But here in Aguas, Easter, oh, no, we'll probably have less people because they all went on vacation." I was like, "Are you serious?" He goes, "I'm dead serious." He goes, "We don't even do Easter egg hunts. Like we started that here, and we don't do anything actually. It's just a normal Sunday." Deshaun, you're the bishop, so what do you think about that? Since you've been born, hasn't Easter always been like the Super Bowl? Isn't it always been like the most important Sunday, or what's going on?
I'm just glad they're following Jesus. They're following Jesus. I'm happy for that.
Does that shock you though?
And they love the word. Yeah, I mean, I have thoughts on him. I mean, I'm just glad they're following Jesus. But yeah, it is shocking.
He's preparing to run for politics, because that was a good answer.
No, I am. I'm really glad they're following Jesus. But no, to me, it doesn't make any sense. But
talk to us about it. What are you thinking?
If Jesus doesn't resurrect from the dead, none of the other stuff matters. What he says has no power, because he doesn't have power over death. He doesn't have power over the grave. Him raising from the dead proves everything he said is correct, is true. And it validates everything he said. It validates all our beliefs. Okay. It validates our life, that we can conquer death itself.
Okay, so has our church culture made it a big deal, or is it just a big deal, period?
It's a big deal, period.
It's a big deal, period.
I wonder how much they're influenced by the Catholic Church. Not that they're Catholic, but the views of this in Mexico, how that's influenced them, because the Virgin Mary is such big for the Catholic Church.
Okay, Mike, you got any thoughts? That's an interesting little spin there, Mike. Because I'm gonna throw us a curveball here in a second, so I just want to hear y'all's thoughts first. Mike, you got something for us? Does that surprise you? Like, were you taken back by my comment there?
No, but it made me think about like other nations. How do they perceive Christmas? Christians who are in different nations, how do they celebrate Christmas, depending on their views, and Easter? And
okay,
I don't know. I was really surprised. Okay. But then I was like, okay, well, maybe Easter eggs are just big for us in the U.S.
Oh, I don't care about the eggs. Get rid of the eggs.
I do care if they have money in them. Like, I go look for an Easter egg with some money. I'm not gonna. Times is hard. You know what I mean? He's had a baby. Times is hard.
Somebody told my son the other day, or on Saturday, we had the Easter egg, the gold ones had
Yeah.
money in them.
So he went and got all the gold ones?
Yeah, none of them had money.
Serve him right.
Yeah, but I back these guys. I'm surprised. I'm shocked that they don't celebrate. It's Easter, Resurrection Sunday. It's a very, very important day.
It's true.
I did hear just yesterday. I learned that you brought up the Catholic influence. That I think they celebrate the Virgin Mary's birth, like sometime December 12th or something like that. I heard that's a big day, and that's the first time I heard.
I don't know when Mary
So-
was born. Y'all know when? I don't
Yeah.
know when Mary was born. I wasn't there. You know
Yeah,
when
so
Mary was born? I don't know.
I heard that's a big celebration of this. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I heard that for the first time.
Well, I know I was down there last October, and man, that city was popping for Dia de los Muertos, right? The Day of the Dead, getting ready for that. Man,
Oh, they down to celebrate some dead folks, but they not down to
ofrendas y
celebrate
todo,
the
bro.
resurrection.
They were
Christ.
ready. The gente were lined up and ready. But it brings me to an interesting thought here, and we had this debate. We didn't have it on the podcast, but I'm about to throw a curveball to all the people who watch this. Okay, so we had this debate the other day. If you were to go traditionally here in the Estados Unidos, right, the United States, what are the largest church services? Of course, we all know here Easter is the one. And then the second and third usually is like a little tandem, can go back and forth, but normally it's going to go Mother's Day, Christmas, or Christmas, Mother's Day. But there is such a drop off. You are not getting Easter numbers on either of those days. Here's my quandary. Here's where I just get confused. How come the Christmas services aren't equally as large as the Easter services when you can't have one without the other? Like you would think like Christmas would be, is it because the culture has taken Christmas away from us and it's all about presents instead of his presence? But Christmas should be equally as huge. It should rival that of Easter. Am I wrong? I mean, what's your guys' thoughts? Mm-hmm. Well, then why is it so downplayed?
Yeah, I mean, Christmas is more focused on you getting stuff.
Yeah, you and your family getting together, and so I think people get super busy around Christmas, and they make it to church. But if not, it's all right.
But you don't have one without the other. Which one's more important?
The chicken or the egg?
Well, technically, if you're doing Easter eggs, yeah. No. Which one's more important? Like, is it Christmas or is it Easter? You can't have one without the other. So why isn't it celebrated that way? Why is the emphasis put on that? Like, hey, listen, this Christmas thing, Jesus born in a manger, God with us, Emmanuel, like slightly a small deal. But yet you don't see the emphasis. You don't see the urgency. Where you got people who ain't been in church in years, they're going to show up for an Easter service. But why aren't you there for Christmas?
Yeah, Christmas, like Deshaun said, I think Christmas is really about us. I mean, it's not, but I think culturally it is.
How do we fix it then?
Man.
You got to teach people what Christmas is about and the importance of it.
What were we going to say?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of the time of the year. It's a little hectic around Christmas time.
But why is it hectic?
Well, yeah, we
It's
made
a
it
rat
all about
race.
the holiday, the travel, presents, all that. And so I think Deshaun's onto something. That's we made it about ourselves.
Yeah, culture has influenced the church in a great way for Christmas compared to Easter, where I think still the focus is more on church compared to focus on yourself and focus on Jesus during Easter compared to Christmas, which it should be also, but it's not.
Well, culture doesn't really do much with Easter.
Go ahead. I'm listening. What do you mean?
So in respects to, like, let's say Christmas, everybody's buying gifts whether you celebrate Christmas or not.
Okay, I see where you're going. Okay.
Everybody's doing Christmas parties whether or not you celebrate Jesus or not.
Yeah, is there Easter parties?
And so just think about like how many Christmas parties you go to a
Right.
year, right? And not to mention having to buy gifts, not to mention having to navigate family, people coming in from out of town, Christmas pictures, all those different things.
So there's just all consumerism written all over that.
Yeah.
It just so he tells me in the same breath, yeah, Easter's not a big deal, but when it comes time for Christmas, this thing's blown up. Like, people make it a big deal. And I just think, how backwards are we, right? So for them, it's big Christmas. For us, it's, big Easter. it's like we're not on the same page when biblically, if we go from a biblical standpoint and we look at it biblically, you can't have one without the other. There should be an equal importance on both of them. But we've allowed this world to come in and rob us of what Christmas should really be about. If we're talking, just because I'm only talking about this because we got off of Easter, and obviously we've done a good job of protecting Easter and saying, hey, no, this is about the resurrection of Christ. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we've kind of fumbled, if I could use a football term, even though I think somebody said baseball season started. So if I could use a little term here, we fumbled on Christmas. So I guess my question is, what effort can we lead to really get that back? I know, Deshaun, you said let's put an emphasis on our preaching, but what else can we do? Because I really feel kind of torn about this. Like we need to do something, because it should be a time of inviting people. If we're going to say, hey, it's about, family and stuff, then our family, we should be inviting our family here, because this is what matters most. The gift under the tree, it doesn't really matter as much as the gift that God gave us, which is Jesus. So what's another thing we could do to help turn that around? I just thought that was interesting.
Us as believers not focused on ourselves, teaching our kids that same thing. This is not about you. It's not about you getting a ton of gifts. Focus on that. Focus on other people, and letting them know this is the reason why I'm doing this. This is the reason why, you're showing your kids. This is the reason you're not getting, 30 gifts, because we're going to help someone else. We're going to show love to someone else and tell them about Jesus.
Okay. You got anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I know that's something that you had showed us was just the importance of like birthdays, celebrating your kids' birthdays, and making Christmas secondary to birthdays. So I think that helps as well.
When it comes to gifts, comes to gifts,
yeah. When it comes to gifts and celebrating that way, so I think that's a good way. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of churches, I've heard a lot of messages where it talked about making Christ be the focus of that time of year, right? It's usually like the first week of December. Hey, let's get our eyes focused on what's really important. But it doesn't seem like it's really moving people to do anything different.
That's what I'm saying. If trends keep going, that's what I'm saying. It's like that consumer idol is big, bro. You know what I mean? Like that's a big Goliath to take down. So, Bill, you want to add any final thoughts on that? What can we do?
I'm not sure I have the answer for it, but Christmas obviously has the name Christ in it, so I think everybody understands what. If it
is in Espanol, more Christ, right? Christ más.
Yeah.
More Christ. Okay, there you go.
Where it seems a little
bilingual here today.
Oh yeah, you go to Mexico, man. You're the man.
Came back bilingual.
So I think everybody understands what Christmas is about. I'm not sure everybody out there understands what Easter is about, and so you would think more people would take Christmas more serious, because there's no doubt that they know what Christmas is about. He brings up
a good point. If we were to pull 100 people off the street just randomly, I guarantee what he just said is probably factual. People probably have more of awareness of what Christmas is about, but Easter, they're going to think it's about a bunny and fertility and all this other stuff and chocolate eggs and this stuff as compared to Christmas. That's a really good point, Bill. Yeah, this is the Not Offended Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We want you to, if you can, subscribe. Find us on iTunes or Spotify and hit the like button. Leave a review. You can write a comment, because one day, guys, guess what? Jake might get paid. So that's the whole goal. We just want to get Jake paid. We're going to make a shirt that says "Pay the Man, Pay Jake." And you never know. It might actually happen one day, Jake. We might actually get there. But if you could, please share this. We feel like we know people are tuning in, but we feel like we're helping people. So I want to talk to you guys about something that is going on locally. So this is a little local part of the segment here. And we talk about culture, what's going on here. Cesar Chavez, that's what's up. Depending on who you talk to, let's just get this out the way, okay? Some are going to say that, he was a revolutionary. Some are going to say he was a jerk. Some are going to say that he was a political, figure. And some are going to say he was just a political talking head. So it really depends. But our city council here in Fresno decided that they were going to name a street after him. They're going to turn Kings Canyon into Cesar Chavez, I guess, Boulevard, Way, Street, Avenue. I don't know. But it's going to cost the taxpayers a lot of money, because we just got so much money that we're just going to throw it around and we're just going to start renaming all the streets. But hold up, wait a minute. Our Mayor Dyer, had an opportunity to veto or to comment. And what did he do? He abdicated that responsibility. He said, you know what, I ain't going to say nothing about it. Well, Mayor, That's the way to go. Here's looking at you. So, what are your thoughts about this? This is going to cost a whole lot more money. You know what I love? Anytime they say it's going to cost this much, I say to myself, that's a lie. Whatever you told us, it's going to be about 20% more than that, and it's going to cost local businesses even more because you didn't plan for it because you've never ran anything. You've never owned a business. You've never done nothing but be in politics and collect that paycheck. So, you guys have any thoughts about our local segment about Cesar Chavez?
Yeah, I think there was my thought on it was I think there was a little controversy that came up.
What was that?
So I think it was originally supposed to be Kings Canyon in Ventura Street, right, which runs south part of town. But then they added a section that went through California Street, which runs through West Fresno. And West Fresno's historically been the African-American community.
Okay.
And so there was a little pushback of changing the name and the California Street. So I think there were some people that came up and spoke. So
do you really think this is the whole reason for the podcast. We're just giving our opinions and our thoughts and our analysis. Kind of feel like Monday Morning Quarterback. But do you really think that people on city council care about the black community?
Well, I don't know. I can't say that, they would say no to that. But I think maybe it's not a priority.
They vote, right? That's what they care about, votes.
It's election year.
But they only care about the black community when it's voting season. Obviously, they didn't care about the black community when they came to renaming part of their community.
Right.
They would say, well, they got MLK Boulevard.
Oh, wow. Praise the Lord. But do you really think they care about it? That's an honest question.
Well, Sean. Good.
This is tricky for you, Deshaun. This is tricky.
Glad you're here with us today. Can you shine some light on the situation?
Before Deshaun talks, so I'll give some context to before you get to Deshaun, I'll give you context to where my experience in West Fresno. I graduated from Edison High School,
which is on the west side.
West Fresno. So
yeah,
went there 20 years ago. Oh my goodness! Now
you're old, Bill.
So I know West Fresno, right? And so California Street goes right through the heart of
it does.
West Fresno. And
it does.
Goes right
We
through
know
Edison
that. Yeah.
High School. And so changing that, I've seen over the last 20 years where the demographic has completely changed over
Which
time.
is true.
And so what the African American community is saying, where's our community at? Like, we've been spread out through all of Fresno now, and so we don't have a location now that we can call kind of ours. And so now the changing of
this
that
was a
street
jab,
name,
Bill. This was a jab.
I think so, absolutely. So that's my context, but go ahead, D. What do you got for it? What's your thoughts on there?
Well, unlike Bill, I didn't, go to school. Go to school on the west side. So
You went to school with a bunch of Mexicans.
yeah. I was with a bunch of Mexicans and white people.
Not that we all assumed that you went to
There was like 3 black people in my class, in my graduating class. I don't know. So I don't talk for black people. Do they care about, the black community? I mean, the people who voted for this, they don't care about nobody but themselves. So they don't care about anybody. They do whatever can get votes. So, I mean, they should have just took Ventura Avenue and they should have made that right there, or Boulevard, whatever it's called, and make that, change the name of that. Not all at Kings Canyon, because it affects my neighborhood, because it goes all the way to far East Fresno, literally out in the country. No one wants the name changed out there. For what reason? Like, I see no benefit for it. Like,
and people make it sound like Cesar Chavez was a saint. Okay, just for the record, my grandfather didn't like the guy at all. And my grandfather's puro Mexicano. He picked in the fields. He didn't like him because he felt like Cesar Chavez was racist against other Mexicans who were trying to get their own American dream. And so, I mean, you didn't pick a guy who's a saint here. You didn't pick a guy who was completely, morally and ethically a shining star. So this is my point. I agree with you. Why not just take a little segment? But why stick it to the black community? What was the point in that? Where was the vote? Where was the communal partaking of this, where the community got to voice their opinion and voice their thoughts, voice their concerns? Listen, politicians only care about the black community when it's time to vote, period. I said it. Come after me. Do what you're going to do.
Who's the 2 council members that?
Arias and Chavez.
And Chavez. Yeah, for like Chavez.
And then Esparza jumped on it. Gotta love Esparza. He always jumps on a moving train.
Well, Chavez, the main people that vote for him are Mexican. So
Right.
It was like, he just appeals to them. I don't care about anybody else. He doesn't care about anyone else. It's like, hey, I need to win this Mexican vote. Then he's going for a county, trying to win the county.
Well, he's trying to win get Sal Quintero, his
So it helps
future
him.
I got
mentor.
a question. Who out there was asking for this?
Well,
Except for the
from
council
my
members
understanding,
who's-
it passed like 30 years ago, and they're implementing something that passed 30 years ago.
Did it pass? I thought they voted it down. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, but
it didn't
either
come
way,
through, so-
this is something that had got brought up in the past. So they may have had like the community vote and all that other stuff. Like I think it was like 30 years ago, and then it's Miguel Arias, I think, brought it back to the table.
But who
now.
from the community went to your council members, right? Either Luis or Miguel, and said, "Hey, this is what we want," or is this something that was pushed by those two council members to get the photo op or whatever?
This is another case of woke politics. This is all it is. You could have took a little segment to honor a person, like I said, who to some people very controversial. To others, you do a little segment, you do an honorary ribbon cutting, you try to affect as many small businesses. There are so many small businesses going to have to change their name, not their name, excuse me, they're going to have to change their business cards. They're going to have to change their websites.
Signage.
They're going to have to change the signage. They're going to have to change all this. You're putting the burden, again, on the working class. Why? Because you don't work. They don't work. They sit up in the office, they push a little paper, and then when it's time for a ribbon cutting, they act like they've been working this entire time. And they haven't been. What real job have you ever had where you had to build a business, build a brand, you had to really get out there blood, sweat, and tears? And so what? The small business owners get it stuck to them again on something they never even asked for. And by the way, if we're just going to keep naming streets, well, what street's next? And who are we going to honor next? Oh, we're going to pick some gay activist or some transgender person. That's who we're going to name a street after. We're going to take all of Blackstone and we're going to call it something else. And
You should ask for a street, Mike.
you're going to get a white street, Mike?
What street
White
represents
Lane.
you?
Tricky Avenue. Nah,
That's going to be all bad.
I got one.
Privilege
We
way.
already, hey, we
Privilege
already,
way.
I'm gonna live there, man.
Yeah, I am too. That's what I'm going to do because there's going to be lots of cops. Going to be a safe neighborhood. Yeah. Woo, privileged way. I'm going. Let's go.
I think it's called Clovis.
Let's go. He only said that because I live in Clovis. That was a low blow, Mike. That was a low blow. But you know, I sleep good at night. Got no crime, no violence. I got nothing in my neighborhood. So I sleep good. It's quiet. I'm the loudest person in my neighborhood. Go
hey,
figure.
it's coming.
Nathan Magzik say 99.9% of Fresno County is nice. Remember that? What did
Who
he
said
say?
that? He
said
Nathan Magzik. When he
Oh, is
said
that what he
interview-
said?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
his
Bless his
neighborhood.
heart. Bless his heart. Love that guy.
He
Bless his
stretched
heart.
out to the foothills out there.
Yeah,
So,
bless his heart. I love that guy. Bless him. That's not true.
I do.
Okay.
Like Nathan. I like Nathan.
But no, so anyway, I just think that this is another burden to the taxpayers. But then again, hey, if you want different outcomes, you got to vote different. That's the whole thing. You got to vote different. You got to vote different. So, okay, I've been wanting to talk about this since I read. And so we're moving on to our woke segment of the podcast, Not Offended Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. Please hit the like button, subscribe button. That way you know when we're always dropping a fresh new podcast. And once again, leave a comment, share it with somebody because our whole goal is one day Jake might get paid. Here we go. I saw my boy hit me up with the link to an article that said Carl Lentz is getting back into ministry. He's going to go on staff at Transformation Nation Church, known as Mike Todd's church. Once again, I'm throwing it out there. I do like Mike Todd. I know you guys give me beef about this. You guys give me a lot of...
Man, you really holding on to this.
Man, you guys just nothing but hatred over here against your boy.
He doesn't know his Bible. Like,
Did you guys grow up together or something?
I'm like 15 years older than the guy. No, we didn't grow up together.
Man.
we heard a new
No,
term.
I didn't babysit him either.
Break up already.
We heard a new term about Mike Todd, and I love it. This is a new title. He's not a pastor anymore. He's a YouTuber.
Hey.
I love it. And
Come on,
so when
guys.
you look at it through that lens, I'm not as mad anymore.
Oh, you're not upset no more.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's not a pastor. He's a YouTuber. He doesn't know his Bible that well. He's doing his very best on YouTube. So I'm not as mad anymore.
Oh, you're not
Yeah.
mad. That's good.
He's a
Sean's
YouTuber.
not mad. The bishop is officially not mad. This is good.
You don't hold a YouTuber to the same standard as a pastor. So,
All right.
so it's not that bad. He's working it out. I wish he would go find a pastor to help him out a little bit. But he's working it out.
He
But
does
he
the
got
pretty,
Robert Morris.
Yeah, he does the.
But obviously he ain't talking to Robert Morris. Robert Morris just showing up.
Or Robert. I don't know.
I feel like we're digging a hole over
Oh,
here.
I ain't mad. Hey, Robert Morris, if you're saying you're mentoring this dude, he needs to change his ways or separate yourself from him.
Come out from amongst them.
Hey, back in the Old Testament, they used to stone people
Oh.
for saying stupid stuff.
Now they just get stoned.
Whoa.
Wouldn't doubt it.
Wow. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me how you guys. Let's do therapy. Tell me how you guys really feel.
Hey, I got a scripture. He doesn't. I don't care. This is what they did. I bet myself with the scripture.
So tell me how you feel about him hiring Carl Lentz. Carl Lentz's official job is he's going to be a strategist.
Yeah.
Strategies.
It's a safe place for him. Safe place.
Do you think
Mike Todd doesn't know his Bible anyways. So like, hey, what he did is not that bad anyways. That's probably what he's thinking.
Okay, but can you be? What does restoration look like?
Well, we first don't even know what he did.
Well, allegedly. How about allegedly?
What's the allegedly's?
That he had either an affair or affairs on his wife, right?
There's a big difference between plural and non-plural there.
So let's just go plural.
Then no, I don't think there's a path forward in the church if you had multiple affairs and you're not. I can't judge whether or not he's truly repentive, but listen, I've said this time and time again. And I've said this. Listen, and I'm an equal offender. This is the Not Offended podcast. So I equally offended. Y'all need to listen to this. I said whether it's Steph Curry, or whether it's Carl Lentz, or any other, Hillsong pastor, whatever. If you're hanging out with celebrities, and you're hanging out with basketball stars, and you're hanging out with rap stars, and you think you're going to win them over while you're partying with them, you're wrong. They are going to influence you long before you ever influence them. And that's exactly what happened. You can't hang out with these guys 24/7 and live their lifestyle, take shots with them at bars in Amsterdam, and think you're going to end up okay. Nobody's that strong. Jesus didn't hang out with sinners and become like the sinners. He hung out, he preached the gospels, and sinners got saved. There's a big difference there.
Yeah, people always love to say Jesus hung out with tax collectors, sinners. A bunch of ignorant people who don't know the Bible again.
Correct.
Jesus hung out with people. He preached the gospel. They will eat, hang out. Then he'll have a hard saying, and guess what? Everybody left.
Or they got saved.
And then at one point, everyone left. And then he looks at the 12, will you leave me also? And they say, we left everything for you. Where else we're going to go? They left everything, and the people who weren't willing to leave everything left Jesus. So to say that he hung out with tax collectors, sinners, and just other ignorant people just making up stuff.
I agree. That's my whole point. So my thing with Carl Lentz is we don't know. There's a report that came out on, I think it's the Inside Edition, because, around the world, the Inside Edition has other little spinoffs. And I think the one in Hillsong in Sydney literally people started emailing things, and they've been investigative reporting. Come to find out, some of these pastors are making $700,000, $800,000, $1 million a year. $700,000, $800,000, $1 million a year. And it's like, yo, listen.
Well, they can't make that.
You listen. Listen.
It was like they were going around speaking at each other's churches, and there was like sort of like an agreement, like I'm gonna pay you $50,000, like just you go on the circuit, and they're all helping each other out make this money.
Now listen. Hear me. I'm not one to cap on anybody, and I'm not one to tell people what you should pay people. That's not my style. Okay, so and I'm trying to be very careful about this. But since it is the Not Offended podcast, I'll just throw it out there. You got to be real careful. You don't get into ministry to make money. You get into ministry to make a difference. And that's a fine line. You got some of these cats, though, and these are the wise ones. They start writing books. These books start taking off. They do one or two things. They either donate all the money to charity, which I know a lot of them who do, or number two, they say, listen, we'll just live off the royalties and we won't take a salary from anybody anymore. Both are respectable. Okay? But you got to navigate that. You got to be real careful. And so I think
it was a little bit more than just like a pastor coming in and like we honor them like with a big check. It was more of like they built like a circuit.
Almost like a Ponzi.
Like a scheme. They had a scheme to like, hey, we all can make some money this way. And yeah. It was a little bit more than just honoring the pastor showing up to your church.
So this is what I'm talking about. So I don't know how far. Listen. I said it a few weeks ago with the Jeremy Foster thing. And by the way, I got to meet him, and he's a really cool dude. I got nothing against him. I'm just saying I think the day of pure accountability is necessary. I'm gonna have mad respect for the first dude who gets up there and just is honest. Yo, this is what I did. And at the time, I'm not gonna make any excuse. I fell as a man, and I failed my family. I failed my church. I failed the people who I was influencing or shepherding, however you want to say it. I failed my wife. I failed the Lord. And I'm coming the Psalms way, which is like, creating me a clean heart, oh God. And I tell you what, any type of restoration anybody wants to give me, if they say I'm done, then I'm done. If they say I'm out for 10 years, then I'm out for 10 years. I'll take any punishment. I'm going to get what I just deserved, and I'm good with it. But too many times you got these big name preachers who have such a large influence that people want them back in the game again. They want them back into the pulpit again. Why? Because they carry such a large influence. Nah, man, let's check that heart. Let's see what's really going on. So I don't think it's as easy, cut and dry, is what people say. But there's going to be mad respect for the dude who just comes out, yeah, this is exactly what I did. I'm not proud of it, but I'm going to tell you because I need honesty. Honesty is how you get restored. And so here's what I did. And I repented before the Lord. I repented before my family and the church. And whatever my governing elders got for me, that's what I deserve. And that's when I'll be ready.
Well, I think he's supposed to come out with a tell-all book. And so maybe...
Yeah, he's throwing Hillsong under the bus.
Oh, I was going to say maybe him and Mike Todd were like, hey, I'm going to throw all my stuff out there. So that was part of his restoration. I don't know. I'm trying to...
Or to make money off his bug.
I was just trying to play the other side. I don't know.
Well, then what other side are we playing? What's there to play, though?
You don't need to write a book to tell it all.
You'll go away for free or what?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm trying to figure out why he would do that. Like why Mike Todd would give him this platform back again.
He's a YouTuber.
For influence or what?
More subs.
Because we're sitting
more
here
subscriptions.
talking about it. There's more subscribers.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about it. Carl Lentz is well known. He attracts a certain type of people. He's a good-looking white guy who has influence with a lot of major players, a lot of major stars. And I don't mean players, I mean like NBA players.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now.
Extremely charisma.
Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you right now, it's hard being a good-looking white guy.
It's tricky?
It's tricky.
It's tricky. Here we go again. I just listen, I'm not necessarily comfortable with the move. I don't know what's going on. I think we need to do a better job of restoring pastors who have fallen. But I think we have to know that the pastors are repentive. And I think one of the ways to know if they're repentive is you got to take whatever the governing elders give you as far as discipline and not look to be back in the limelight so fast. What are we, 2 years removed from this? And we still don't even know what he did. We don't know if there's money issues along with fidelity issues. We don't know if there's gambling issues along with the fidelity, along with the money. We have no idea. Was there abuse? You know, did he come onto a woman who's going to come out here in 6 months and say that he did something? We don't know anything.
A nanny came out saying that. Yeah.
Who did?
A nanny.
Yeah, what?
That he abused her, manipulated her.
Yeah, that's the danger of not coming out and telling everything. Because if you put them back on a platform
and something else comes
out, now you've exposed your whole church to it.
Now you're Mekon Carter.
Yeah, now we got problems again. Here we are again. So my prayer is, and I've got no stones to throw. Everybody's battling their own demons. We just got to have accountability. We just got to keep it clean, keep it correct, own it, and let's move forward with the path forward of real restoration. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he can never be back in ministry. There does come a point when you turn to a predator instead of a pastor, you don't belong in a pulpit.
Yeah.
How about that? And some of these things that are coming out sound kind of predatory. We're walking a gray area. Unless we hear a true admission. We're walking a gray. This is the Not Offended podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're talking about culture and its influence on the church. And apparently we're talking about YouTubers now, Deshaun. We're talking about YouTubers allegedly. But we ask you to like, subscribe, leave a comment. We try to get back to all those. Thank you for watching everywhere from the East Coast to the West Coast to the Midwest to the South. All over California and, of course, in Aguascalientes, Mexico. We appreciate you guys so much. So I wanted to end off with something that I'm very disturbed by. And this is an Anthony thing. I don't expect you guys to have the same feelings. But there is a push right now to keep the Tennessee shooter name and sexual preference of pronouns out of the media. Her name was what was it, Aubrey Hale? Or Aubrey Hale, and she was a transgender. She was a mentally disturbed person who went to a Christian school and murdered 3 adults and 3 children. She killed them. And so now there is a big push not to talk about her transgender ideologies and not to bring up her name when we should be talking about his name because that's what she wanted to be called. I don't care if she wanted to be called Moby Dick or anything else. We're going to say her name and who she is because she murdered innocent kids. You don't get no privileges in my book for your mental delusions. When are we going to stop playing games and start calling things the way they are? What are we trying to do? And then they want to come out on April 1st and have a National Transgender Awareness Day. Yeah, I'm going to make you aware of something. You guys have a murderer. Am I being overly zealous here, guys? Am I okay, or am I about to pop? What's going on?
I'll go. Just the frustration is just the treatment of certain groups by how they, the information that comes out, right? And so, if the script was flipped,
had this been a white man, what would we be doing right now?
And then it comes out. So
we got to look at Mike. If this was going to be a white man, what do we do right now, Mike?
I probably I wouldn't be able to come on the podcast for a couple weeks.
Okay, we'd have to have Jake, the wild card, fill in for you.
You guys would have to apologize for having a white guy on the podcast.
We have to do a whole apology tour?
We sat him down. Okay, he said he was sorry for being white, and he'll be back in a couple weeks.
Hey, I just found out it's not okay. You can't just say I'm not racist. You have to be anti-racist.
What is that?
I don't know. That's all far I got so far. I'll let you know maybe next week.
See? Tricky.
Yeah, I was like, it is tricky.
You can't just be white. Bill, what's anti-racist?
I actually was never born.
Idea.
You can't be just non-racist. You have to be anti-racist.
Maybe
I'll get back to you next week.
Yeah.
Okay, Deshaun's going to get back to us
I
next
look
week.
down upon those who look down upon those.
No, you can no longer look down upon those who look down upon those for looking down.
Shoot, I'm in trouble.
So what were you going to say, Bill?
Just,
So
just the treatment of how the media goes out there and protects certain groups, but then they'll expose other ones.
What's your assessment of this of Audrey, this woman who obviously was sick and needed real help, needed therapy?
Okay, so is the argument so they're not wanting her name to be?
They don't want to say her name. They don't want to say that she was transgender.
Well, I don't understand why we need to talk about her being a tranny, but but
Bring it back, Mike. Bring it back. That side of the table.
Can't be laughing.
I know. Jake over here. It's Jake Lawson. Gosh.
The name part, I can see but we don't talk about anybody else's sexual orientation, right? So I don't understand why we need to talk about her being whatever she is.
I think the big argument they're saying, they just want to point out that she was mentally ill.
Correct.
That was a problem. In that when you say these people aren't mentally ill, you're doing harm, and they're going to eventually do harm to other people if they don't do harm to themselves. So
Yeah, the other big factor too is that she targeted a Christian school, and so is this even labeled a hate crime at this point, or are they trying to hide the facts?
Tell me if you heard this. I heard that she was targeting the pastor, and she was looking for him because they had a meeting or something like that, and he offended her, and something had happened. So she was looking for the pastor.
They won't give us information.
Okay,
They're protecting her.
she was looking for the pastor. She didn't find the pastor, so she found his daughter, and the daughter was one of the girls that died.
Okay,
snaps.
so listen to how that sounds.
Oh yeah, it sounds way bad. Way.
She's mentally ill. Call it for what it is. What sane person does that?
So what's the picture that they're trying to paint of her? Or they're trying to just erase
she was
her?
a victim. That she was a victim.
Yeah.
Got it.
That she was a victim. No, she is an attacker. She is not a victim.
No, she got what she deserved.
yeah.
She is not a victim. And then on April 1st, they want to go over to the state capitals and they want to do this whole national trans awareness. Nah, skip me with that. Skip me with it.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna keep getting more violent if people don't push back.
They're getting more violent. What are you talking? Dude, Riley Gaines go to San Francisco State University, and there's video evidence of them literally attacking her, screaming at her, and they won't let her leave. And they're over there saying she's got to pay us to let her leave. Her and her white privilege got to pay us to let her leave. Are you kidding me? I wish you would come at me like that. We're going to have some problems. Why? They're getting more and more. They shut down the Tennessee legislation.
Yeah, she needs some people there to help knock people out.
That's it. It's time. Listen, we better wake up. It's time to push back. Guys, we went through this already. 5 years ago, they were not this aggressive. They feel emboldened. They feel ballsy. We need to do something. Like, where's the church? Hello, we better figure something out real quick because they come into a church near you. And if you don't start accepting them, they're gonna let you know about it.
They get drop kicked.
Drop kick. Did you go WWE over here? You just
come like that, you'll get drop kicked.
But I mean, you see what's going on here? This is a serious, and now we're protecting mass murderers. She is a mass murderer. Had this been a white guy, flip the script. Had this been a white guy who went into a Muslim mosque and just started killing Arabs, this would have been all over the news. And you know who they'd have blamed? Donald Trump. Oh, this is Donald Trump's fault. This is what you get for having a president named Donald Trump.
That's true.
But what? We can't say it on the other end? This is what happens when you entertain people who got mental issues. Get them the help they need. I'll be the first one to say it. Because up until 20 years ago, nobody argued that this... Bro, there are more and more stories coming out right now, people detransitioning and saying this was the biggest mistake of my life. What are we doing? But you got pastors who are soft out there. You got pastors who are literally saying, oh, to be trans is to be like Jesus. Who in the heck gave you a license to preach? You are leading people to hell. They said, oh, trans people suffer like Jesus. I sent you, remember, I told you about that video. Trans people suffer like Jesus.
Oh, wow.
The biggest issue I have right now, this period, is just people who claim to be Christians saying crazy stuff. Like, it makes me so mad. Just don't call yourself a Christian. Just come up with a different title, something. Stop calling yourself a Christian. Like, it's so frustrating that you're messing up the gospel. You're misidentifying who God really is. Like, it makes me so mad to stop calling yourself that. It's like, man, that's why I like, man, going back to the Old Testament, they were killing people for saying stupid stuff like that because they want to protect the truth. It was so important because the truth brings healing, it brings hope, it brings freedom, and they're messing up the truth. They're distorting it. They're doing the work of the devil. Just stop calling yourself a Christian. Go say you worship Satan. I'm cool with it. Go do that. I don't care. Just stop messing with the truth because you're leading people. You're trying to give people hope, and you're not giving them hope. You're sending them straight to hell. That's all you're doing. You're doing the work of Satan. And that makes you so mad they keep messing up the gospel. Like, stop calling yourself a Christian. Come up with a different title, a different name. Go start your own religion. Go do something different.
Right. So we had two guys in Tennessee right after this happened, Justin Jones and Justin Pearson. They got up on their state representatives, House representatives, excuse me, and they got up and they tried to ask for love for the trans community and stricter gun laws. But they started these chants. Both of them got censured. They got kicked out of the House because they literally led the protest. While the state speaker was trying to have order and all this, they led the state march, state protest, and so they got kicked out. And now they're saying it's racist because they're two black dudes. So they're saying this is we're going back to Jim Crow days, guys. Going back to Jim Crow. Why when something happens, we're always going back to racist and Jim Crows? It's like the ultimate, card to play. It's like racist. There it is, right there. Remember, you guys remember when they did that to us? They did that to us. They're just racist. They're just racist.
No, if you're an idiot, they don't care what color you are. If you're black and you're an idiot, they're just mad at you because you're an idiot.
Oh, is that what
Stop being an idiot.
So an idiot's
first.
an idiot.
Idiot's an idiot. Whether you're white, black, Mexican, I don't care.
Okay.
Like, you're an idiot. We don't need to restrict gun laws. We need more guns. Riley Gay needs someone with a gun there to back everyone up. Everyone would cut out real quick. She was in there for 3 hours.
She was.
Give me a gun. I'll get everyone out in 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Be out. Everyone get out. Everyone back up. We're going home.
They just got a good point.
Hey, what kind of candy did you have for Easter?
Yeah. No, I mean, you coming out spitting fire, boy.
Yeah. All right.
You want what he got? You want some of the candy he got or what?
Yeah, he's got gunpowder in him.
Hey, but is that crazy? They over here saying, and then he gets up, one of the Justins gets up, and he tries to invoke Black Jesus. Did you know Jesus was black?
So stupid. Again, you're messing up the gospel. If Jesus isn't a Jew, burn the Bible. It doesn't make any sense. Jesus has to be a Jew.
Yeah. He said, and Black Jesus, if he was here today.
Jesus wasn't black. He wasn't Mexican. He was.
Hey, yo. Slow your roll on the next part.
He was a Jew.
Who else?
You went too far.
Yeah. Come on, man. It was fish tacos, bro, not fish and bread. Come on, bro. Okay, but did you see the video? Remember? And if Black Jesus was here, and I was like, oh man, come on.
Yeah, and the
man.
black woman came and helped him. I was like, bro, what are you talking about, dude?
Bro? Moses was black, and Abraham. Man, everybody was black then. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Then there ain't no room for me. That's it. But this is getting carried away. If you ask me, it's like, when are we going to start pushing back? I'm telling you right now, it's time to start pushing back. Okay, final words, final thoughts on this. Mike, we'll go around. What do you think, man? I just feel like there's this, in my opinion, going back to this subject here, I just feel like if we don't start pushing back on this whole aggressive trans movement, that's it. We're in trouble. Like, it's going to get a full head of steam. Give me your last thoughts on that.
You know, I just think, like, what does that look like? Like, how does,
give me an idea.
Pushing back? I was thinking about it. Like, what does it look like? I mean, not everybody has a platform to do a podcast.
Okay.
I'll say this for individuals: just know your Bible.
Oh, okay.
If you simply will just know that, you don't have to worry about coming with something yourself. You don't have to worry about your feelings, because you might actually like, man, I care about this person. They're struggling. And some people's reaction is like, man, just let them do them. Like, let them, because they know they feel bad for them. If you just know the truth, just align your feelings up with that. Just know that, and then you're able to love them with that. Because if you're willing to preach the truth and stick to the truth, eventually that will bring freedom to people.
I love it.
So stick to that truth. Know your Bible. Like, people attacking Easter, and it's like this stupid stuff. It doesn't make any sense. If you simply just know your Bible, we know when Easter happened because it happened during the Passover. So the things that people attack you with, if you just know your Bible, you can you can stand against those things, and you can just keep that truth, knowing that truth eventually can set people free.
That's good. Want to piggyback off that?
Yeah, and I think that the more that we can pass down that truth to those who are close to us, so your kids, whether it be your siblings, your parents, maybe you're a kid out there and you're learning your word, you're helping your parents navigate this. I mean, I think that I got a text message from somebody the other day who is part of the LGBTQ community, and they were like, man, this tranny stuff is crazy. Like they were like, I don't want to see your daughter having to compete against boys.
Oh, we haven't even touched that segment. We're gonna get to that probably next week. Yeah.
So, but for those people who are out there, like, or people who are thinking that everybody's all on board with this tranny stuff, they're not. Mm-hmm. It's not just a whole right wing people who hate people who are against people who are trans, whatever. It's like, no. Their ideology is just going too far, and what they're doing is just doing too much. And so it's okay. It's okay to stand up for what you believe in. People want to censor us, but it's okay to stand up for what you believe in.
Yeah, and you don't have to fight the world. Like, if you're a stay-at-home mom and the people you influence are your kids, fight for that world, for those people you get to influence. It doesn't have to be on a podcast. It doesn't have to be, you get a big pulpit. But the people in that you influence, whether it be at work or at school, just those group of people around you. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, we can no longer just be silent. I think we've done that for too long, and it's gotten this far.
So true.
And understand that you are the majority. Like Pastor Mike was saying, is not everybody thinks this way. Not everybody wants to just go along with the trends and everything that's going on. They are the minority. We are the majority. But if we allow them to voice their opinions much louder than we voice ours, then yeah, it's going to seem like a lot of people are on board with that, and it's just not true. I think there's a lot of people that would like to speak out about it, would like to stand against it, but they're afraid. But understand that you're in the majority of that.
No, so good. Yeah, I want to take this last segment, and I want to speak to all the leaders out there, especially all the pastors. You got to bring awareness to this. You can no longer, hide your head in the sand, so to say. You need to speak on it. You need to come at a fresh biblical perspective, always seasoned with grace, truth, and love. And you need to just make your congregation aware of this is coming to a school near you, where teachers are going to get fired if they don't use suggestive pronouns, and if they don't do this and if they don't do that. We need to bring awareness because it's being pushed on the kids, because there's an agenda. And the agenda is, if we can get it on the kids, if we can get them familiar and used to it, if we can, in fact, groom them, then we'll have a whole legion or a whole army backing us when the time is necessary, when the time comes. So you need to bring awareness, and you need to know your Bible. We got too many pastors out there who want to bury their heads in the sand. They don't want to do anything about it because they don't want to upset the few. Listen, it's time to upset the apple cart. It's time to go all in and say, listen, we're coming at it from a gospel perspective. We're going to love everybody, but the goal is to watch them get free. The goal is to watch them become Christians. So I just want to encourage you to do that. Stand strong, stand firm in the faith, and don't worry about it. Jesus is standing with you if nobody else is. This has been the Not Offended Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Peace. We're out.